No matter what, people will commit to misunderstanding you. What's most important is your commitment to understanding yourself. Hello, you guys. My name is Nkirika Madani, known as NK, and welcome back to Misunderstood. It's actually been almost 3 weeks since I've been on the mic. I have been traveling and I wanted to pre-record a few episodes. So the past few episodes were recorded in June. This is my first recording in July, and I am excited to be back talking to you guys in real time. Are you living or just existing? Continuing along with our summer series, I wanted to do an episode about living in the moment in summer. As of right now, we only have 8 weekends left until summer's over. Labor Day weekend is the end of summer and we go into fall and all the cozy months, which I am excited for. However, we yearn for summer all year long. This is what we've been waiting for. So if we are not living in these moments, then what the hell are we doing? We have one summer each year and we need to make the most of it. So are you living or just existing? Are you taking the moments that you are given and really leaning in? Are you going on your trips? Are you indulging where you can? Are you giving yourself grace? Are you going on adventures? If you are not answering yes to those questions, you're doing something wrong. This is the season to enjoy. And I want to share what I've been up to for the past few weeks and give you guys some inspiration and also tie those into some learning lessons, some fun story times. So you are hopefully by the end of this episode really inspired to lean into summer while we have it. Before we get started, please take some time right now to rate this podcast, Misunderstood, 5 stars. Rating the show helps extremely with the success of this podcast. I love getting your tags on social media that you guys are listening to the podcast. It makes me so happy that this project I started at the beginning of this year is getting viewership and people are resonating. One very simple free thing you can do to continue to support this podcast is leaving a 5-star rating on the show. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into the episode. I sometimes write down a ton of things I want to cover in an episode. And then we have episodes like this where I literally think of it right before I get on the mic. And we're going to do some stream of consciousness. We're just going to see what comes to mind. Because at the end of the day, this podcast is supposed to feel very organic and very true to me. There are very serious topics we talk about on this podcast if you've been here since the beginning. But there are also very lighthearted, very funny, very goofy, silly things that we talk about. This podcast episode will be a little bit of this silly, funny, goofy story time that I crave, and I love listening to these for other people, so I hope that you enjoy. So let's take it back to my summer bucket list. If you are a YouTube subscriber, you already know this. As well on this podcast, I did debrief my entire summer bucket list, which is episode 24 if you want to go back and listen. That episode detailed every single thing I wanted to accomplish this summer. It was a very advantageous list, but I'm here to say a little midsummer check-in. We have done at least half of the bucket list so far, and I'm very proud of it. And a few things on the bucket list is what I'm going to highlight today. I am all about summer travel specifically because summer feels like the best time to travel. It's usually the best weather. We just feel more relaxed in the summertime than any other season. Summer is truly where I thrive and I see myself leaning in, indulging, and having a good time. Each summer so far since I've moved away from San Francisco, I have traveled back to California to visit 2 of my best friends who live in California. So my first official summer trip has came and went. It's a little bittersweet when I think about it because I get so excited about the anticipation for the trip, and now I'm sitting on the mic recapping the trip and it's already over. But I had the most amazing week in California. I spent 8 days in California. They were days absolutely well spent. I got to be in both NorCal and SoCal. First, I started in Northern California. I flew into San Francisco, stayed at a hotel for a night, and then Julia picked me up from the hotel. We drove through San Francisco to go to Tahoe. If you're new here and if you don't know, I lived in San Francisco for 10 years. That's where I went to college. That's where I had my first post-grad job. That's where I had my apartment for 5.5 years. I have so many memories tied to San Francisco. It will always be considered my second home, such a special place to me. So every single time I fly into San Francisco, even though I'm not staying there, I absolutely want to drive through. So we spent about 2 hours just driving through San Francisco. We got lunch at Suvla. If you know, you know, some of the best salads ever. It's a Greek style salad. It is so good. I get the chicken salad. If you're in San Francisco and if you want a very, very good lunch, please go there. Also get the fries with a side of Greek yogurt dressing. You'll thank me later. We also stopped at Arsicult Bakery. That place has the best chocolate croissants you will ever have in your life. And yes, I've been to Paris, and yes, they are better. In my opinion, they are so good. We got some fuel, then we drove up to Tahoe. The drive from San Francisco to Tahoe is about 4 hours. Most of it is actually not scenic, but once you start getting closer and closer to Tahoe, you are met with the most beautiful scenery, the most beautiful mountains. You see all of the gorgeous trees. And now that I live in New York, we do not have trees like this here, unfortunately. So every single time I get to go back to Tahoe, I am smiling from ear to ear. It's just such a special experience, especially because I've been to Tahoe 9 times. Yes, 9 times. Tahoe is one of my favorite places in the world. It is actually considered for me one of my happy places. So every single time I get to go to Tahoe, it is such a treat. So I want to run through what we did in Tahoe. We were there for 3 days. I personally believe that 3 days is more than enough time to be in Tahoe and see it, get a sense of it, especially because me and her have been there so many times. We didn't need a ton of time there, but what we loved about our experience this time around is that first off, we decided to be completely sober. Every single time we've ever been to Tahoe, transparently, we have been drunk. We used to go when we were in our early 20s, so you can already see where that's going. But this time around, we were saying, all right, let's prove to ourselves that we can go to Tahoe and be sober, which we absolutely did. It's funny because we were actually tempted so many times with so many different street vendors, so many different businesses, so many different people who we met along the way were offering us drinks, and we declined. And we were really proud of that. One thing about us, we know how to have fun, but we also know how to reel it in. So regardless, we had such an amazing time in Tahoe, but let's run through what we actually did. So first off, we stayed in an Airbnb less than a 5-minute drive from Lake Tahoe, which has always been my dream, to stay in such proximity to the lake that I can walk there. Every single time we've stayed in other Airbnbs, we've definitely had to get in a car and drive to Lake Tahoe. But this time we were so close, and it made me so happy because each morning I just woke up, walked to the lake, and just took it all in, which we will get to. But right when we got there, we drove to the lake, we walked down, and we were just so in awe. And again, we've been there so many times. Nothing is a surprise. We know what it looks like. We know what it feels like. But every single time we are at Lake Tahoe, it is just breathtaking. This is, yes, I'm biased, but this is the best lake in the entire world. But it is actually also, I think, the third biggest lake in the country. It's a little scary for me because I am afraid of deep water. I always have been. So every single time I go in, I am always on the shallow end of the lake, and I stay away from the deep part. But it is such a breathtaking place. We decided to go see the sunset sunset for the first night that we were there. We brought our journals, we were journaling and watching the sunset. It was so wholesome, so cute. There are many parts of the lake, if you don't know, but we always stay in South Lake Tahoe. I've stayed in North Lake one time. It was nice, but I do prefer South Lake Tahoe. So every single thing I'm saying for this recap is in regards to South Lake Tahoe. We went to El Dorado Beach for our journal and sunset, which was lovely. We also decided to cook all of our meals, which honestly, I love that we did that. One, to save money, but also there's such a vibe with being in a cabin-esque place and you're waking up and you're cooking your breakfast and you're packing your lunch and you're cooking a cozy dinner and eating it at the table, which is exactly the sequence of events that we did. We had cozy, hearty breakfast. We packed turkey sandwiches for lunch. We ate it at the beach, and each night we had a different meal for dinner. We had pizza, we had stir fry, we had salmon and veggies. It was great. I felt very nourished throughout the entire experience. Honestly, it doesn't even have to be just a cabin, but something about a cabin-esque Airbnb in the woods in a lake town, having all of your meals cooked where you're staying, something about it hits different. Trust me. Day 2, we woke up and decided on adventure. Actually, Julia decided on adventure, and I said, okay, sure. We'll do one thing that's adventurous. I want to say here and now, I am usually a very adventurous person. However, because I have an injury right now, I'm not as adventurous as I usually am. But we did something within the bounds that I could physically do. We decided to kayak. We went to the Tahoe Keys Marina, which is actually where we went last year on our boat day for Julia's birthday. So it was fun to get to go back to that same place a year later. So here's the thing about kayaking. This was my very first time. Julia has kayaked before. I had never kayaked before. I was a little apprehensive. I heard about the storm that had just happened in Tahoe, but I know that the staff wouldn't let anybody kayak if there was an impending storm. I was still just a little worried because Tahoe, like I mentioned before, is such a huge lake. And when you actually get into the main part of Lake Tahoe, it is massive. It is so big, and our kayak didn't have a GPS or anything like that. And yes, I did ask before we went. So I was just a little apprehensive, a little nervous, a little anxious, but everything went pretty smoothly. I don't think that I would do it again, but I am glad that I did it at Lake Tahoe because it's such an iconic place to be on the water. But if you are not into kayaking, they have paddleboarding, they have jet skiing, you can take a ferry, you can do a sunset cruise. Something I love about Tahoe is that there are literally endless water activities that you can do if you are an adventurous person and want to do those type of endeavors. Tahoe literally has everything that you can do. Then we decided to have a lake day and we went to Round Hill Pines. Just a little TLDR. There's certain beaches around Lake Tahoe that you do have to pay an admission fee, and the admission fee really just goes into the preservation of each part of Lake Tahoe, which I absolutely understood. So we paid $12 to park and we got access to this part of the beach. It was such a gorgeous part of Lake Tahoe, somewhere we had never been before, but somewhere that now I want to definitely make it a point to go back to. They had a place that we can blow up our floaties. They had a restaurant on the beach. It was really, really nice. So we set up our tent and we just had a nice floating day. I decided to read some of my book. Another thing about me is I am very, very into reading in the summer. I have a 1 book a month reading goal that I set out at the beginning of 2025, but specifically in the summer, I do like to read summary books. So I did pick up Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I'm almost halfway through the book. It is such a fun, light read, and specifically loved reading it while I was laying on the beach. It was such a vibe. Later that day, we went to Heavenly Village, which is essentially the downtown area of South Lake Tahoe. This is where all the shops, all the restaurants are. We've been there a few times in the past. We love the mini city feel that the shops and the restaurants have. So we walked around, we got ice cream. There was some live music there. We just popped into some of the stores. So that is a really great place to kill time, to indulge, maybe get a drink, maybe go to a restaurant, browse, shop. Day 2, I woke up and walked that 5-minute stretch down to Lake Tahoe, and there was morning yoga at the lake, which I absolutely love. I learned that they do morning yoga every single weekday morning. Took part in a little bit of the yoga, and I really, really enjoyed that serene aspect of having the backdrop of Lake Tahoe while you are meditating and doing a very inward restorative activity. Later that day, we went to Zephyr Cove, and if you know, you know, Zephyr Cove is such a core memory in my life. It will literally always be a core memory. I will tell my future family about my times at Zephyr Cove. This place historically is party central, especially on 4th of July, which is when I would usually go to Zephyr Cove. But like I said, this year we were keeping it very tame, but we decided to go back to Zephyr Cove for old time's sake. I got so many flashbacks of all the times I had been to Zephyr Cove, and I have to say it was very nice to be there sober and just take it in a completely different way. We basically had a repeat beach day. We set up our tent, we floated, we played We're Not Really Strangers, which is a card game. Highly recommend that card game if you're with your friends and you want to learn more about them on a deeper level. I brought my crochet kit and I was crocheting by the water. Another complete vibe that I highly recommend. I just have loved learning and relearning really how to crochet and doing activities with my hands that doesn't involve constantly being on my phone, which I'm really trying to limit my screen time. That has been really restorative for me. We went to Steamer's Bar and Grill for our last evening in Tahoe. I heard about this place from a local and fully was aware that this is a local spot. And once we got there, absolutely locals only. Me and Julia were probably the only tourists in that bar. But what we loved about it is they have this huge outdoor area that they bring bands in, live music every single night, and we were graced with this amazing band called Sugar Pines. We tried to look them up on Spotify. They're not on Spotify. Apparently they only do cover songs, but they were incredible. There was a violinist, there was an insane vocalist, there was a really great drummer. Everyone was on point. We stayed there for an hour and a half. We were dancing, we were having a good time, we were talking to the locals. That was such a highlight of the entire Tahoe experience and something so different from anything we've done every single time that we've ever been to Tahoe. So it was really, really special. If you haven't caught my drift, Lake Tahoe is such an amazing place to visit, especially in the summer. I actually have never been there in the winter, but I also heard it's a vibe, and maybe this year I will see that vibe, but all I can speak to right now is the summer vibes of Lake Tahoe really feels like you are actually living. Back to the original premise of this episode, living versus existing. In Tahoe, there were so many moments that I felt like I was living in the moment. I wasn't on my phone that much. I was being so present, and I actually felt restored throughout my experience rather than drained. For me, that is so, so important. When you think about the things that fill your cup and the things that detract from your cup, you need to realize what are those stressors for you and what are the things that you want to add into your life and the things that you want to detract. The few days I spent in Tahoe were so special. They made me feel more whole. And every single time I leave Tahoe, I am literally in tears because I am sad that I'm leaving. I actually said right before I left, I want to buy a lake house in Tahoe. I want that to be a vacation property sometime in my life that I can bring my future family. That is now on my vision board of life. Each time I go there, I really feel like I am living. Now, a hop, skip, and a jump away from NorCal. We're in SoCal. We drove from Tahoe back to San Francisco. I got on a flight from San Francisco to LA to visit my other best friend, Ariana. She is doing a 3-month stint in LA before she actually moves there later this year, which I'm so excited for her. This has been something she's wanted for many, many years. So I'm so happy that she is actually putting it into motion. But I, as one of her best friends, gets to reap the benefits of her 3-month stint. And I got to stay with her at her sick condo in West Hollywood. And seriously, this place is sick. If you want to see what it looks like, I did a full LA recap on my YouTube vlog, which actually went up yesterday. If you're listening to this when it goes live, go check it out and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So yeah, this place is actually insane. There was a guest bedroom, a guest bathroom, another half bath, an insane living room, an insane kitchen, an insane dining area. This place was incredible. Not only spaciously, whoever did the interior design needs a raise. I literally wanted to wrap it up and buy it as is. I cannot speak enough good things about that place. But anyways, let's get into the shenanigans in LA. Me and Ariana, one of the most fun things about our friendship is that she's the person who I can have so much fun with, but also have a lot of really deep intellectual conversations with. We actually don't talk super regularly, but she's one of those friends that will literally always be in my life because she's such a high quality friend. And one thing about me is I only keep high quality people around me, and it's just a testament to our friendship. We've been friends for 8 years. I love her so much. Anyways, so let's get into it. Thursday, we started off strong. We went to Elefante. Elefante, you guys, a vibe. Really, really good food. Technically, it's Italian food, but there is a lot of new American on the menu. I got the cacio e pepe. Very, very good. That was my first time having that dish. But I actually love getting cocktails there more so than the food. This time around, I got a Vesper Martini. I don't know if I've already mentioned this on the podcast, but I have a newfound love for a Vesper Martini, and they hit. They hit. See, here's the thing about me. I can't have a dirty martini because I hate olives. That's my truth. But I love a Vesper Martini, and I've been definitely diving into those this summer. So I got one of those. I got my meal. Just being there is a vibe. There's a lot of people watching. It's technically on a rooftop, so you get an amazing view, and we usually go at sunset. However, our dinner was at 10 p.m. because I got into LA a little later than expected. But regardless, still had such an amazing time. So in the past, we've done the Elefante to Bungalow pipeline. If you don't know what Bungalow is, it is a outdoor indoor bar. I've referenced it as the adult playground. But here's the thing. The last time we were there was in 2024. So since then, a lot has changed about the establishment. A lot of things I wasn't a fan of, and we didn't go this time for a few reasons. One, apparently there's been a lot of violence that has been happening at Bungalow, so we took that into account. Secondly, they are now charging for entry, which I am not down for. They are charging, $54? You have to buy a pre-sale ticket, and that gets you 2 drinks. I personally do not love that way of business. I don't think an establishment should be forcing people to buy a drink. Especially, think about it. Some people don't even drink. So now you can't even walk into the bar without drinking. I don't know who's on the marketing team, but they need to get their shit together. So many people were very upset with that new change, which apparently happened at the beginning of July. You don't even have to take my word for it. Go to their social media and you can read all about it. It is the Bungalow in Santa Monica. So we decided after Elefante, let's just go home because we knew we were going to go on a bender. So we just decided to have an earlier night on Thursday. Friday, we were both working. I had pockets of time that I worked, and then pockets of time I just roamed around LA. So I went and got a bagel, and then I went to to Alfred for my strawberry matcha. So good. My iced strawberry matcha. I have never drank a matcha hot and I don't plan on it. I just love an iced drink, especially in the summer, right? Iced drinks hit different. So last year is when I first got my Alfred matcha, and it was really strong back then because I didn't have a matcha tolerance then. But since 2024, I've been drinking matcha semi-regularly, so I was ready to try the matcha latte again, and it hit. It was so good. I don't know what it is about their matcha in specific, but it tastes very fresh and I really enjoyed it. Then I got to sit outside, people watch. LA is for people watching. What you've heard is true. Everyone is good looking and it's nice to just sit and observe. Then hours later, it was time for our weekend to officially start. We started at the roof at the Edition Hotel. This place, stunning, gorgeous. Something about LA that will always be true is that everything is so beautiful. They really put a lot of money and effort into the aesthetics of everything, which as someone who is a Libra and likes pretty things, I highly appreciate it. One thing about me, I will always look up the menu before I go somewhere. So I already knew what drink I was going to get. It was called the Penicilla. You guys, this drink was one of the best drinks I've ever had. I know that sounds very dramatic, but it really was. I will go back to get this drink, okay? This drink had reposado tequila in it, which is my favorite, but it also had a mezcal float, a hibiscus mezcal float, mind you. So it was sweet. It had a little heat. It was such a pretty color. It matched my outfit that night. And yes, it was $27? Everything's expensive. We're on vacation. Money doesn't matter while you're on vacation. That is my truth. But I had this drink, you guys, and probably 30 minutes later, we are on our way to dinner. And I was like, okay, I am turned. I am a little lit. I will always say yes to a pre-dinner cocktail. There's something about just having a drink before dinner that sets the tone, sets the vibes. I knew that after I had that drink, this is going to be a good night because I already feel good. We started off strong with this lovely drink. We went to dinner at Amore. This place, out of a storybook, out of a freaking storybook. It is so romantic. There's candlelit tables everywhere. We're technically in a garden. There's a little bookseller inside where you can literally go grab a book. This place was beautiful, immaculate. The service, impeccable. Everyone was so dressed up. Everyone looked fabulous. We actually met the owner and he came and sat at our table. He was telling us all about LA and how he used to live in New York and how he started Amore. Also, we were serenaded at dinner. There was a guitarist who was strumming along tableside while we were having our drinks. That was such a highlight of the entire trip. Something about Amore, they have this thing called the French Riviera Soiree, which is essentially a evening party that they do on Friday and Saturday nights at 10:30 p.m. So we stayed there for a little bit. Great music. And then we went over to Soho House. If you know, you know. Soho House is a members club. It is very exclusive. I've been to a few in New York. I've been to one in London. We went to the Soho House in West Hollywood. We have to go through a parking garage to get into Soho House. It's very cryptic in a way, but I actually like it because you would never know that it's there. Then you go all the way up to, again, we're basically on the roof with an insane view of LA. And then you have this 2-floor Soho House. We were meeting some of Ariana's friends who she's known for a bit. Soho House is Soho House. You already know. The vibes are great. The clientele is amazing. I got an espresso martini decaf with tequila. Yes, it is good. Yes, if I'm drinking an espresso martini, that is what I get because I love tequila and I can't have caffeine. It was really good there. They also served it in the cutest glass, which I appreciated. Something about me. I love a cute glass. A cute glass will make me drink the drink. We were in Soho House for like 2 hours, just mingling, talking to a ton of people. Me and Ariana always scan the room and we're like, all right, we're the cute guys. Let's go mingle. So we mingled with a few people. Everything in LA closes at 2 a.m. So this is obviously different from New York, which closes at 4. But we were not ready for the party to end, essentially. Once Soho House closed, we went to a house party. One of Ariana's friends, who I have also met, he's super nice. A very serendipitous thing happened where a guy from my past magically came into my present. I had a little rendezvous, which was very fun. We'll be definitely seeing him again soon. Some fun in the Hollywood Hills were had. Saturday, we were not well rested, but the show must go on. We had brunch at Chateau Marmont, which everybody has been talking about this place. This place is well known for a reason. The aesthetics are beautiful. It's also been an establishment since 1929. So this place has a long-standing history. Lots of celebrities go there. It is a scene. They actually ask you not to take any photos or videos, I guess to protect the clientele. Regardless, it was stunning. Just took everything in. I took everything in. The architecture, amazing. After that, we had a pool day at SLS, which is on another rooftop. You are seeing a pattern. We were on a lot of rooftops for LA. One thing about me, I love a good rooftop. And like I said, back to my summer bucket list, all I wanted was to rooftop hop. All I wanted was to be on many rooftops and seeing a lot of pretty views. And LA absolutely did that for me. So we had an amazing pool day at SLS. You have to get a day pass via Resort Pass, $45 for a day pass. And once we were up there, it was really, really chill. Rotating DJs, which I thought was really fun. I got a Hugo Spritz, which is my drink of the summer. I got 2 actually. When I'm hungover, there are sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll just take it easy. But because I'm on vacation, I was like, all right, we're just gonna have to keep on going and then we can take a break later. I was hungover, but I decided to just lean in and, live. Like I said, we are living. We are not just existing. I got into the pool. I was swimming a little bit. We were sunbathing. We were just chit-chatting, having some kiki debrief girl talk. Then we went home, took a necessary nap, and got ready for dinner at Funk Rooftop is in Beverly Hills. Love an excuse to dress up. Oh yeah, my fits for LA. 8 down. I know it. The public knows it. I love dressing up. It's so girlhood. I'm just a girl who loves fashion. I'm just a girl who loves a fit. To throw fits, and the fits were thrown all throughout LA. This fit in particular was one of my favorites because it was so sparkly. I love a super sparkly, dazzly's not a word, a super sparkly, dazzling outfit. And this one was all gold, sequins, gorgeous. Paired it with my flower shoes. If you know, you know. We had a lovely dinner at Funk. I got a $50 pasta. Yes, very, very expensive. But I learned before I got it that this pasta took 20 hours to make and it is the staple item on the menu. So I said, again, I'm going to live in this moment. I'm on vacation. I'm enjoying. I have the means to do this. So I'm going to lean in and I'm going to indulge and I'm going to enjoy myself. So I got that along with a mezcal drink, which was also very good. And we indulged for dinner. We had such a great time. We took a lot of photos. This rooftop is stunning. There were so many places that we took really, really cute photos. Highly recommend going there for the photos, for the food, for the ambiance. After dinner, we went to 2 places for some nightlife. We went to Puzzle, which is a very, very small venue, and it's seemingly underground. From the outside, you literally would not know what this is, but they were playing pretty good deep house, some hip hop music, which was a vibe, not even gonna lie. I got a free drink from the bartender. We stayed there for a little bit and then we went to Rasputin. We went to Rasputin last year, which was one of the craziest nights we've had ever in our friendship. Crazy fun. And so for old time's sake, we went for round 2, which was a lot more tame. However, we just got asked to sit at this table because we are friends of the DJ. A bottle of Dom P just appeared and we obviously were not going to say no. So I was just sipping Dom P, sitting at this table at 1:30 in the morning in LA. And I'm like, all right, again, this is a perfect example of me living, not existing. I'm just leaning in. I'm just a girl. I'm just having fun. I'm just living in the experiences that I'm being given. I'm so grateful to be given. Summer is summering. Truly, summer is summering. And you thought we were done, but we have one more day to recap. So now it is Sunday. We started off our day at Zinc. Zinc is my favorite lunch spot in LA. The first one I ever went to was in Venice. I highly recommend going to that one. It is a very collaborative, creative environment. We went to the one in West Hollywood. I always get the same thing because it is so good. It's called the Le Bowl. Get it? Thank me later. And obviously, LA is the place where you will most likely see a celebrity if you're there long enough. At Zinc, while I was just chilling, eating with Ariana, I look behind me and 2 tables over is Stephanie Beatrice from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's just having lunch with her friends. And I'm like, okay. Cool. That was a really fun moment to see in person. After that, we took a stroll down Sunset Boulevard. We took some photos. Then we went to Air One for the Hailey Bieber smoothie. Each year, it goes up $1. Now it is $20 for a smoothie, which is actually highway robbery. However, I will still pay it because it is really, really, really good. Again, I'm on vacation. I have the means. I'm going to do it. That is my truth. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something with your own money. Okay? Last but not least, to round off our amazing LA weekend was Nobu in Malibu, because you should not be going to Nobu unless it's in Malibu. It is right on the water. It is the most scenic, beautiful experience. We went last year. Every time we go to LA together, it's going to be a tradition. We're going to go again and again. I grabbed a drink at the bar. I got a lychee martini. That's another drink that I've been loving in the summer. Let's do a little recap on our summer drinks. Okay, so you get some summer drink inspiration. A lychee martini, a Hugo Spritz, a Vesper martini. And then I'm just going to throw in the 2 other drinks that I do like drinking. A espresso martini decaf with tequila, and then a classic tequila soda with 2 limes. Those are my drinks of choice. Those are the drinks that I will always ask for in any capacity, just so that we're clear. I got a lychee martini. They made it so great. We took pictures for a while before we sat for dinner. Nobu is known for their seafood, so I got sushi. I got the baked crab roll, and then I got the salmon avocado roll, and I asked them to bake it because I don't love raw fish. They happily obliged, and we had a lovely dinner by the water, and it was just such a great way to round out our trip. We actually did it on Sunday last year too, so it just feels like a really good ending to an amazing trip, having that escape into Malibu. And Malibu, if you don't know, it's about an hour away from West Hollywood. We had a scenic drive. Ariana's renting a car as well, so we drove Highway 1. It was just a really great way to catch up and hang out with her. Overall, the trip was amazing. It really allowed me to lean into the fun side of me, the restorative side of me. I got to do a lot of things that I don't usually do in New York. I love that I can have an escape, be with my best friends. Again, lean into summer, feel like I'm actually living instead of holding back. I find that in the summer, I do my best to not hold back. I do my best to lean into the experiences that I'm given. If I want to have a rendezvous with a boy, which I did, I'm going to do it. If I want to have a cocktail before dinner, I'm going to do it. If I want to dress up, look hot every single night, I'm going to do it because it's summer. These are the things that we should be doing in the summer. Very soon, unfortunately, it's going to be winter again, and then we're going to be yearning for summer again. It is a cycle. I ask again, are you living or are you just existing? I really hope that you start living. You still have time. We still have half of summer left. Please take this as a sign to book that trip, wear that dress, go on a date with that boy, wear the lipstick, jump in the damn water, and live. And with that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Misunderstood. Remember to rate this podcast 5 stars and follow it on Apple and Spotify. Remember to join our Geneva group chat. It is linked in the show description. Hang out with me on my other socials, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest at NKMadani. And I will talk to you guys in the next one.